are pregnant, I ask that we grab something to drink, a water bottle, just something to keep us hydrated in this session. This is going to be a brief flow, but I want to ensure that my moms-to-be are comfortable and well hydrated. So maybe you can take a moment to grab something to drink, maybe some water, some refreshing iced tea, lemonade, whatever you choose. May you grab your item. And in our seated pose as a new mom, maybe we can be sitting on a bolster pillow. And we can always sit on the floor, but we find it more comfortable to sit on a bolster pillow, especially if we are in our third trimester when our bellies are nice and big. Because when we're sitting on a bolster pillow, it just creates a higher space for our hips, and it allows our legs to relax a little bit more downward. It gives us more space. So grabbing that bolster pillow is always a good way to keep us in a nice, comfortable seated pose. And we're going to stay close to the earth. We're going to stay close to the earth today. We may slightly come up, but we're not going to do too much crazy activities today. Our goal as mommies to be or new moms is to relax and soothe the mind and body. And maybe we can start our session today by placing one hand on the top parts of our belly and our opposite hand on the bottom. Whatever hands that feels good for you, as we sit and relax in our easy seat on our bolster pillow, if that feels good for us. Gazing our eyes down or closing our eyes. Relaxing our shoulders down, away from the ears. As we bring attention to our bellies, our baby within. We might even feel a couple of kicks or movements if we're further along. And if we're not, maybe we can imagine what the baby is doing inside, knowing that it's moving, knowing that it's alive, knowing that it is there. But it's so tiny, we can't feel the life yet, but it is there. Whatever it is, whatever it may be, palms are relaxed on the top and the bottom part of our tummy, feeling the life that is growing within. Gazing down. Relaxing the shoulders downward away from the ears. Maybe we can ensure that our spinal cord isn't sunken inward. We want to ensure that our back is nice and long, our shoulders are up. When we sit in a nice straight posture, we create more room for baby, especially when we're in our bigger months. We can give the baby more room to move around when we are not slouched. Notice the difference from when we are slouched and when we are sitting up. The baby has more space. Keeping our palms placed on our bellies, giving attention and love to our babies as well as ourselves. Continuing to gaze down, eyes closed. Natural breaths. If we are in our first or second trimester, maybe breathe our palms above our heads. Feeling the seated salute. Exhaling down a seated prayer. If we are in our third trimester, especially 8th and 9th month, we're just going to imagine doing a seated salute. We don't want to reach our palms too much above our heads, but we can come into a seated prayer if that feels good for us. Noticing how we feel in our bodies with our baby. If all is well, maybe we can come into a diamond or a butterfly, bounding our feet together. You know, a diamond or a butterfly is so much easier when we're on a bolster. But if we're not on a bolster, when we're on a yoga mat, we may feel it more on our hips. But if we are in our late second or third trimester, maybe we can stay up on our bolster, because we don't want to overstretch, overwork, overuse our bodies. We want to just do nice subtle movements here today. So we're going to stay on our bolster with our feet bound together, noticing how this butterfly or this diamond pose feels in our bodies, creating a space for baby between our legs. Nice natural breaths. Checking in. If all feels well, maybe we can hinge at our hips, slightly leaning forward, just a little. We don't want to go too deep. We just want to slightly hinge forward. Chest is still slightly up, like we're in a half forward fold. Chin is slightly up. Simply noticing how that feels. Opening up our hips, preparing our hips, preparing our bodies for labor. Not going in too deep. Natural breaths. We're not going to take deep breaths. We're not going to exhale deeply. We're going to take natural breaths. Checking in and noticing how this feels. Two more breaths. As we use our hands to push our bodies up into our butterfly. As we straighten our legs out into our staff pose. However, if we are in our third trimester, maybe we can do a wide-legged staff pose, because we always want to give room for baby. And maybe we can be in a super wide-legged staff pose if that feels good for us. Allowing our chest to come slightly up as we slightly lean forward. We are on our bolster pillow, especially if we're in our third trimester. We want to be on our bolster pillow because, again, the bolster pillow just gives our belly space from our body to the floor. And we want to slightly lean forward here, just a little. Noticing how we can feel it behind our legs. This is a modified pose here for pregnant moms to be. We don't want to go in too deeply, so please don't overhinge at our hips. Staying up slightly, kind of in a half forward fold. We simply want to feel the pose, but not go deep in a pose. Gazing forward, eyes are down. Natural breaths. As we come back to center, lifting our bodies up to a wide-legged staff. As we take our bodies and slightly gaze towards the right, just a little bit. We don't want to do a full body twist here with our pregnant bellies. Just slightly gazing over the right. Checking out the space around us. Noticing what's going on. Maybe even feeling baby move inside of our bellies. Two more breaths. As we exhale back to center, breathe in deeply. Exhale fully. Have slight Seated twist left side, slightly gazing, slightly turning the body to the left. Just a little, please, just a little. Remembering that with baby inside of our belly, we don't want to over twist and overextend, causing crushing. So we want to slightly lean towards the left, noticing how that feels for us and our bodies. Feeling the baby within. Maybe hold this pose 3 more natural breaths. As we exhale back to center, gazing forward, as we slightly come to a half wide-legged forward fold, slightly feeling a stretch behind our hamstrings, just a little behind our legs. We don't want to go in too deep. 2 more breaths. Exhale back to center. As we bound our feet back together in our butterfly or our diamond. Noticing how this feels. Shoulders are relaxed downward away from our ears. We are relaxing the body here. Two more breaths. As we slowly come off of our bolster pillow, if we are on one, coming into our hands and our knees. Wide-legged. Knees are wider than hip distance apart. As we drop to our cow, feeling our baby bump go nice and low. Exhale into our cat, slight cat. Coming back to our cow, and we're going to do a couple of cat-cow rotations to our natural breath. Noticing how baby feels within our bodies with each movement. As we pause at our table and slightly bring our leg to the back in our bird pose. But we're going to keep our we're going to keep our toes downward towards the earth. We don't want to lift our toes up off the floor like we would normally do, unless we completely feel comfortable when doing this. Otherwise, I am suggesting that we keep our toes downward towards the earth in our bird pose. And we're not going to bring our left arm forward like we normally do. We want to control and protect our belly. So we are in our bird pose, slightly gazing forward. This is a modification here. Both hands are flat on the earth. Our right foot is towards the back, but our toes are downward towards the earth as we gaze forward here. Feeling the baby within our bodies. Being aware. Natural breaths. As we exhale back to tabletop, drop into our cow. Exhale the cat. Coming back to table. As we do bird pose, left side, bringing our left foot towards the back. Once again, toes are connecting to the earth. We don't want to bring our leg up in the air unless we feel completely comfortable. We're going to keep both hands flat on the earth. We're not going to bring our right arm forward here. We're going to protect our baby bump by keeping both hands flat on the earth. Our toes are flat on the floor behind us. Again, the only way we're going to lift up that foot is if we feel completely strong and capable of keeping our leg up. Otherwise, we're going to keep that leg down, protecting us, protecting our baby. Natural breaths. Exhale back to table. Drop into cow. Exhale into cat. Back to table as we flow into a super wide-legged child's pose. And if we have a pillow in front of us, the way I do, we can bring that pillow slightly in front of us. We can come down into a wide-legged child's pose or puppy pose, having the pillow slightly in front. Using the pillow to relax and soothe, ensuring that we are not going too deep into our pose. We're going to hang out in our wide-legged child's pose for 7 natural breaths, giving the mind and the body time to relax and soothe. Hanging out here for a couple more breaths. Exhaling back to center as we do a couple of spinal waves, just a few, relaxing and soothing our spinal cord. Moving the pillow from in front of us if we need it, if we had one. We are back in our table, pushing our bodies up to our first down dog. Gazing back at our feet. Building strength in our arms. As we flow up to our Tadasana, palms are at our side. Checking in. Maybe if we choose, we can come into a wide stance Tadasana, ensuring that we are leveled. We don't want to feel dizzy here. Always keeping our stance wide to protect us and the baby. As we breathe our palms to heart center. Hinging at our hips, half forward fold with praying hands. Breathing back to Tadasana. We're not going to bring our palms above our heads, just we don't want to really come up, bring our palms above our head in our 8th or 9th month. So we're just going to keep our palms in Tadasana. 2 more breaths. As we breathe to standing prayer. Exhale at the hips, hinging to half forward fold. As we walk our hands forward into a down dog. Maybe we can walk our dog here. Dropping down to our knees, coming into a wide-legged child's pose or puppy pose. We can bring our pillow in front of us if that feels good for us. Hanging out here, 6 natural breaths. Slowly gazing forward as we walk our fingertips to the front of the yoga mat, feeling the stretch. Waving our bodies to our hands and our knees. Removing the pillow in front of us if we had one. We are back to our table. So we're just going to come onto our side and kind of being inside of a fetal pose. And we can have our hands up on our head and we can extend our legs out toward the side, kind of like a side shavasana. So instead of being in a shavasana on our backs, we can be in a side shavasana. But I actually call this pose a stacked legs because we're pregnant, we're preggo, but we can still do some things, right? We can still lift our leg up and work on our inner thighs and our outer thighs here. So if we are able in our practice, maybe we can lift our leg up and down. Otherwise, if it is not, straighten out their arm and simply relax our bodies here into a sleeping position on our side or coming into a cradle. Bringing a pillow over if you need. Otherwise, we're going to keep on flowing if we're able and lift our leg up and down. We are in our stacked leg pose here, working our inner thighs. We're going to do this for 3 more natural breaths. Two more breaths. Exhale, leg up. Breathe, leg down. If we're in our relaxed position, we're going to hang out here for a couple more breaths. As we exhale, pushing our bodies up. Noticing how we feel. And if we feel okay, maybe we can switch sides, doing the side shavasana or side leg stack to the opposite side. If we are not feeling up to it today, if baby's moving actively, we can always just relax here. We can bring our pillow and come to that side shavasana, or we can come to our stacked legs and lift that leg up in the air and lift it down, feeling the leg stacks here. We are working our thighs. If we're able, we want to listen to our minds and our bodies and our babies. What feels good for us? What feels good for our baby? 3 more breaths. One more breath. Breathe in. Exhale, lay down. Relax in the body. Exhale back up to a seated pose. Maybe we can come into a diamond or a butterfly. We are in our bound position. Noticing how this opens up our hips. This hip opener also prepares the mind and the body for labor and delivery. Heart chakra comes slightly up. Chin comes slightly up. We don't want to overextend here. As we exhale to cat, chin comes towards our clavicle. Spinal cord goes slightly to the back, just a little. We just want to just a little. We can do a cow all day long, but we don't want to do a cat pose, which is bringing our chin into our clavicle and our back goes towards the back when we have a big baby bump, because we don't want to squish the baby. So listening to our minds and our bodies. As we use our hands to bring our knees inward, maybe slightly come onto our side, grabbing our pillows, our bolsters, anything we may need today. to relax and soothe. And we're going to come on to our side and find ourselves in a side Shavasana. Relaxing and soothing here. Having a pillow between our legs. It feels so great when you're preggo or not. Using our arm as our pillow if we don't have a pillow for our head. Maybe having a pillow behind our backs, kind of like we're doing a restorative yoga class here. And we're using the pillows to relax and soothe and keep our balance, but at the same time, help position us for a healthy baby mom posture. As we relax our bodies, gazing our eyes downward or closing our eyes. Completely relaxing our shoulders as we, as baby, takes time for self. We are self-soothing here today. I'm going to hang out here for 7 more natural breaths. Three more breaths. Breathe in deeply. Exhale fully. Relax in the body. As we use our hand that's away from the earth to push our bodies up to a seated position, nice and slow. We're not in a rush here. Finding ourselves in a seated pose that feels good for us. I'm going to come back onto my bolster pillow. I like when my hips are high and my knees are low. It feels good in the body. Maybe I'll bring a blanket over my legs or a pillow over my legs, protecting my baby bump. Protecting baby. As I gaze my eyes downward, lowering my shoulders downward away from the ears. Spinal cord is nice and long. My hands are relaxed. I'm not in prayer, I'm just in relaxation mode. Doing any hand gesture that feels good for me and baby. I may be touching my tummy with 1 or 2 hands. I may be simply relaxing my hands. I could be in prayer hands, who knows? I am relaxed and doing what my body feels and says I need at the present moment. Gazing down. Shoulders are relaxed downward, away from the ears. Spinal cord is long. Natural breaths. nice, relaxing breaths. I would like to thank you for allowing me to practice self-care here today as mommy to be in our prenatal session. I would like to thank you for allowing me to practice self-care here today in our prenatal session. Peace and blessings and well wishes to you and baby and anyone else you wish to extend these warm wishes to. The light in me sees, appreciates, and respects the light in you. Namaste. Peace and blessings.